Tea, accompanied by a cup of tea.
For some.
For some, and an ale for others. Tasty. Tea for tasty. That's good, actually. Okay, episode 20. Tea. We've got 4 shelves of teas.
How many letters in the alphabet again?
26.
Another week.
Another 6 episodes after this. We'll be finished on
Locked.
Thursday night.
The end of lockdown.
What?
Well, in our minds it was.
Yeah, we're a day out.
Because we missed a day.
No, we would have been even a day earlier.
Alright, Matt Hancock.
Matt Hancock and his maths. Right, so tea starts with Tabu.
Okay.
So Tabu is a film that Murnau made in the South Seas with Tahitian people playing Tahitians.
Okay.
So it's exotic, it's primitive. It's kind of, actually, for a film that's like 1931, although it's slightly dubious that it's like you go and make a film using real people in real locations and I don't think they got paid for it. At least they are real Tahitians rather than like Americans with brown on their faces. You know, it's quite revolutionary for that. It's great. Next, Korean horror, Tale of Two Sisters. Great.
Not Sisters that we saw the other day.
No, this is absolutely creepy. Twin sisters, one of them dies, starts seeing the other one around the house. Oh. Take Shelter. Jeff Nichols' Take Shelter. Did you see this when it was on?
Nope.
I love this. I went to see this at the cinema, absolutely loved it. I've seen it a couple of times on Blu-ray since. So this is Michael Shannon playing a man who believes that a big disaster is coming, a big plague type thing.
I do love Michael Shannon.
He's great in it. He's really good. That's a great film. And then next to that is another that I believe is a little bit of a little known, little seen gem, is Take This Waltz.
Oh, yeah.
So here you get the always good Michelle Williams teamed up with her unlikely husband in this, Seth Rogen, who kind of works because he's a bit of a Seth Rogen style dick, and he's meant to be, so it kind of fits.
Yeah.
He does that Seth Rogen like annoying laugh, and she cringes when he does it, and it works really well. It's a lovely little indie film filmed in one of the, I think it's Toronto. It's beautiful. Next up, all-time classic, one of my favourites, Taxi Driver. Can't go wrong with Taxi Driver, for me. You just did a De Niro face.
I can take it or leave it.
Fair enough. Leave it for me. Dario Argento's Tenebrae comes next.
Yeah.
Which is a great late, so it's 80s rather than 70s, but it's still a gialli. Video nasty. So it's an author who goes to Rome to do some book promotion, and people start getting bumped off in the style of the characters in his book.
Fun.
It's great.
I think that's the Murder, She Wrote plot.
Stolen from this.
Maybe.
Next is The Terminator.
On your feet, soldier. On your feet.
That's the only quote that nobody ever does from The Terminator,
I know,
but it's a really good one.
It's the best one.
Terminator 2.
What, a quote?
Go on, do a quote that people won't do from it. So not Hasta la Vista, baby, or now I know why you cry, or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know for the
My
second one.
Terminator one that I like to do is, he says there is a storm coming.
Oh yeah.
Every time there's a storm.
Yeah. What's your Terminator 2 quote?
Get out. No, because I did it in Arnie's voice and it's T2000 that does it. Get out.
That's shit, Ben.
When he lands in the helicopter in liquid form and tells the pilot to get out. The pilot jumps out of the helicopter. Get out. This is why it shouldn't be impressions. Next up, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'll do my impression of Leatherface. This is Chainsaw. Have you seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Still reeling from that.
Get out! Have you ever seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No.
Will you ever see Texas
No.
Chainsaw Massacre? You should. It's really good.
No.
It's brutal.
You know how I feel about
Yeah.
everything. It's too much.
You struggled with the Wicker Man earlier when the frog came on. So.
Those snails. Ugh.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is amazing. It is horrible, but it's brilliant at the same time.
Yeah.
Next up, There Will Be Blood. First of a couple of Paul Thomas Andersons here, I think.
From what I remember of that, it's like, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. Oh, it's the last 50 minutes. What the fuck? Oh, it's over. Is that one?
I don't know, because that's not how I felt about it. I just thought it was great.
But is the end a bit brutal?
I don't remember the end particularly.
What am I thinking of?
I haven't seen it for a long time.
We'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, I'd love to see it again. Next to There Will Be Blood, at the opposite end of the acting, film production, magnificence spectrum, there's a film that I love. Bless you.
Thanks.
And many love. They Live.
Yeah.
But is kind of the opposite end of things to There Will Be Blood. It's the opposite to a Daniel Day-Lewis super spectacle. It's low budget science fiction. Very excited for the board game of this that's coming out in December. I've kickstarted. Yeah, it's great. Next to They Live, a lovely, lovely German box set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 disc box set of Michael Mann's Thief. So this is James Caan as a safe cracker. Brilliant. Early 80s, Tangerine Dream soundtrack.
Come on, Artie. It's alright.
After Thief comes Thin Red Line. So another Terrence Malick. So what we know about Terrence Malick is he made Badlands that we talked about back at B with Sissy Spacek.
Yeah.
Then there was a quite long period, something like 7 or 8 years. Then he made Days of Heaven, Richard Gere.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a period of about another 7 or 8 years. And then he made The Thin Red Line.
A war film.
Yeah. So this kind of got lost because it came out at the same time as Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, there was a spate, wasn't there?
I think Thin Red Line's a better film.
Which one is Band of Brothers?
Well, that's a TV series that came out after both of these.
But wasn't one of the films?
No.
Oh.
Just Spielberg made Band of Brothers with Tom Hanks. So Thin Red Line is a kind of more thoughtful, dreamy, psychological war film. And it's a remake of a film from the 50s that I'm desperately trying to get a copy of that's got Keir Delay that plays the main guy in 2001 Space Odyssey. And it's a similar story, but that's great as well. That's a nice steel book. Following The Thin Red Line, we've got The Thing. And we've got 2 copies of The Things. There's an American one that was the best you could get, and then Arrow came out with an even better copy of it.
That looks great.
It's a beautiful restoration.
Man is the warmest place to hide.
It's a lovely box set with a nice book, a poster. The Arrow version's got pretty much everything you could ever want. The great thing about the John Carpenter films, so They Live's got a commentary with John Carpenter and Roddy Piper. All the ones with Kurt Russell have got John Carpenter and Kurt Russell doing the commentaries, and they're obviously just the best mates.
Oh,
who
that's
just
nice.
muck about. Really good.
That's nice to know.
Next to The Thing is The Thing from Another World. The original.
Yeah.
Which might annoy the people who would store that before The Thing because it came out before it, but it is after it in the alphabet. So it can't go before. Then there's a lovely box set of The Third Man. Great soundtrack. Cracking bit of European noir.
Yeah, it's good.
Lovely box set.
Poor Orson Welles.
Yeah, he had a tough time. He was a very tricky man by all accounts, but still had a terrible time with Hollywood. Then look who it is, Park Chan-wook. We're back to him again. What's Park Chan? That we're going to get this by the end of it. What did Park Chan-wook make?
Old Boy.
And
Lady Vengeance.
and
Snow.
no, that's Bong Joon-ho.
Oh,
The Handmaiden.
The Handmaiden.
I'm a Cyborg. The
Okay.
Host. No, that's Bong Joon-ho. This is Thirst.
Yeah.
Thirst is Park Chan-wook's vampire film about a vampire monk.
Is it as good as Girl Walks Home Alone at
No.
night?
No, we should get that. That's great, isn't it?
That's the ultimate for me.
It's a really good vampire film. That.
Yeah.
This is good. I think the thing that I like about Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho is there doesn't appear to be a specific genre.
Yeah.
They make their films.
I'm glad they're on a kind of international stage now.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope that things like the fact that everyone loved Parasite. I hope it makes lots of people go and watch the other ones who want to make people who want to make films, like young people who watch Parasite and go, "Oh, I'd love to make a film like that." I'm going to watch the rest of Bong Joon-ho's films and go, "Wow, you don't have to just make Parasite 10 times.
Yeah.
Like you're not Michael Mann, you know, Michael Bay." You know?
Yeah.
Next up, this is Spinal Tap.
Great.
Astonishing. This, along with Big Lebowski. Spinal Tap is a film that I probably had seen a dozen times because it was another student house and post-student house favourite.
Yeah.
And I never understood why it was so funny. I kind of got it, but I didn't find it hilarious.
Because you were Spinal Tap.
I was Spinal Tap, yeah. Struggling band member. I then did a pop-up of this in Cardiff in a room with 20 people, some of whom had dressed up as Spinal Tap, and it was the most hilarious evening. It all suddenly made sense why it was so funny.
It's the communal experience.
Yeah. The Spinal Tap Blu-ray has and I think the DVD had it as well, it had a brilliant thing on it, which is there are outtakes that are almost as long as the film, and you can watch it as a separate, it's like Spinal Tap from a different angle. Different scenes, but from the same thing. Great. Next up, a TV series. Well, TV film. Threads. People listening to this who've just heard the word Threads might be shivering from the neck down. It's one of the worst things
How
I've
can
ever
you
seen.
shiver from the neck down? Actually, you only ever shiver from the neck down.
It's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
It doesn't look great.
It's set in Britain, Sheffield. Nuclear bomb goes off in Sheffield.
Probably not for now.
Burning bodies in the streets, people pissing themselves, people becoming prostitutes in order to get rat meat to live off.
Oh my god.
Next to that is another of the films that I believe, personally, to be very much missed. Not missed. That had been missed, as it gets overlooked. Because I think it's absolutely amazing. And that's The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada. Do you know this?
No.
Directed by Tommy Lee Jones.
What?
Tommy Lee Jones plays a Tex-Mex border cowboy, and a Mexican guy that he knows is murdered, and Tommy Lee Jones goes on a quest to take his body back to Mexico, to where he's from. It's amazing.
Okay.
Three Colours trilogy next.
Un, deux, trois.
Blue, white, red,
Bleu.
bleu, blanc, rouge. Although whatever that is in Polish, because it's directed by Krzysztof Kieślowski.
It's a French language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
French and Polish.
Oh,
Art house classics.
I think I've only seen blue.
We showed blue, we need to show white and red.
Yeah.
Really? Next. Before there was Star Wars, there was THX 1138. George Lucas's first science fiction film. The one he did before American Graffiti.
It's not a catchy title, is it?
No, but I think it's amazing.
Yeah. If you're going to expand into film reviews, I think you need to widen the
Well, amazing is
descriptive
reasonable. Right,
vocab.
it's good. No, THX 1138 is really interesting because it's got a lot of the things in that end up in Star Wars. It's like the sound design's very Star Warsy. But it's got a soundtrack by Lalo Schifrin, which is pretty cool. Nice and slightly funky 70s. It's a really interesting film, though, about individuality in a police state. Again, maybe not good for right now. but it's amazing. It's just a shame that the only version you can get on DVD and Blu-ray is the director's cut that George Lucas did in whenever it was, 1998.
He liked to go back and tinker, didn't he?
Yeah, and there's bits of this where I kind of get it. He wanted this to look like a big expansive world, and he didn't have much budget, so there's some of the rooms he expanded so that you can see through the doors and see more rooms and stuff, and that stuff works. But my problem with it is there's a scene at the end where in the original, when the character gets jumped on by some like underground dwellers who are like little people in costumes, like sort of cavemen type creatures, and George Lucas was never pleased with them, so he computer generated this like monkey cat thing to go over them, and it just doesn't work because you have to like make the CG thing move wherever the bodies are of the original thing, and it just looks terrible. So in there, not only is the Blu-ray in there, but there's a DVD that I burnt that comes from the Laserdisc version of it. No, the VHS version that I had, which was the original one. One day there might be a proper one. Next comes William Friedkin's To Live and Die in LA. So yesterday we said William Friedkin ruled the 70s with French Connection, Exorcist and Sorcerer. Then in the early 80s he made To Live and Die in LA, which is excellent. It's got William Peterson, that was the main guy in Manhunter, as a cop. It's so 80s.
I like the look of it.
It's great, yeah, it's really good.
I should give it a go.
Next up, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Faultless.
Faultless. This probably goes in the perfect list as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful films. It's such a good story. The Blu-ray's delicious as well. It's very crisp and just looks amazing, the black and white. And that's a lovely digibook with some sort of book. Oh, it's Gregory Peck's personal script pages and personal letters.
Mm.
Following that, we have Yasujiro Ozo's Tokyo Story, one of the best Japanese films of all time. You might be able to watch that one. It's not samurai.
Mm.
It's about an old couple whose young daughter comes to stay with them, and it's really sad. It's kind of them like she's really offhand with them and just looks at them as old people who don't really count for much, but they're lovely old people. It's really good. Very slow, stately.
Yeah, maybe.
After that, we've got another Terrence Malick. So he had lots of big gaps, and then suddenly, when he got one of the others that were coming up too soon, suddenly there were loads, like there was one every 2 years. And I think most people hated these, but I personally found To the Wonder to be one of the most glorious things that had ever gone into my eyes when I saw it at the cinema. I mean, it's totally uber pretentious and has zero in the way of plot, really, but it's an absolute delight to look at.
Never heard of it.
Ben Affleck, Olga Kurylenko, Rachel
Oh, yeah.
McAdams, Javier Bardem. Oh, it's totally pretentious, but it's got like scenes of.
I didn't mind The Tree of Life. You know.
Well, that's coming up soon, and a lot of people hated that. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah,
as well.
I thought I was going to hate it, but I found that I didn't hate
It's
it.
beautiful. This is very similar. Lots of nothing much happening, and that like whispered voiceover. He thought that day was the best day of his life
I love a voiceover.
until the next day happened. It's like
Javier Bardem.
as
Look
a priest.
how young Ben Affleck is.
It's not even that long ago. 10 years, is it?
Rachel McAdams pumped them out mine, didn't she,
Mm.
in films?
It's good. It's got an amazing scene where they go to Mont Saint Michel, and they walk across wet sand, and the sand's so wet that as they jump on it, it waves, like it ripples, but it's still strong enough to stand on. There's a lovely camera swooping round Ben Affleck and Olga Kurylenko while they're like dancing about in the sand. And there's a shot in the trailer that made me swoon, just because the camera work was so good.
You swooned.
Yeah, that's another pretentious thing you can do there. My favourite trailer ever is the teaser for The Phantom Menace. You can say, I think you'll find the best trailer ever is the trailer for To the Wonder. Swoonsome. Next comes.
I don't think you've got a good grasp of pretension.
Swoonsome. Orson Welles' Touch of Evil. You didn't like this?
Didn't I?
No, you said it was lots of men shouting at each other. I think it is. It's noir from 1957, and it's got a lot. It's got a lot of shouting in it. What I like about this is not only that legendary opening shot that's really long, but it's got
Yeah.
really good Marlene Dietrich in it, where she
Mm.
plays a like gypsy fortune teller, and it's got Orson Welles as a massive fat detective, who's just brilliant because he was not even very old when this was made. He's like 30 something, and he's playing a 60-year-old massive bloke. Anyway, that's an amazing steelbook with about 3 or 4 different versions of the film in it,
Why?
because there are different cuts, there's different screen ratios and stuff. Next is Toy Story 3.
And that is what keeps this fresh.
Toy Story 3?
Just the range, Ben. The range.
Why? Toy Story 3 is a mega classic.
I know.
Cried in the cinema. After Toy Story 3, we have another amazing film, Trading Places.
Great.
Aykroyd and Murray, not Aykroyd and Murray, Aykroyd and Murphy at their finest.
Yeah.
What a combo.
Great.
After that, we've got Train Spotting, which I watched again recently, and it still stands up. Lots of films in the 90s have dated quite badly. This doesn't seem to have dated because it's set in the 80s, I guess. So it's like the music's from the 80s. It feels
Yeah.
like the 80s.
Yeah.
It's
clever.
still really tough, some of it.
Yeah.
It's also hilarious.
Yes.
And it's probably got one of the best. This should have been talked about when we talked about best soundtrack, shouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's an amazing 90s capsule. It's weird though because it's 80s and 90s in the soundtrack, but it's set in the 80s. Anyway, good. Next up, Treasure of Sierra Madre.
Another one that you bang on about.
You saw this too.
I did.
Humphrey Bogart, looking for some treasure. John Huston's 50s adventure.
It was beginning to look not that well.
Yeah, it's towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
He died in like 56 or something, didn't he? And this is this is 47,
Oh
but he doesn't look good in it.
no.
I mean, he never looks great. He always looks like a hamster to me.
But there's healthy bogey
Yeah.
and drinking too much bogey maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. So you just mentioned it. So next up is The Tree of Life. Lovely Criterion edition with the book. And I want to revisit this because the Criterion got the special rights to do an extended cut, which is on here. An extended edition featuring an additional 50 minutes of footage.
Whoa, Nelly.
So if you like it, I'd imagine that's a good thing. If you're one of the people that doesn't like Tree of Life, the concept of watching Tree of Life with an extra 50 minutes of it in it is probably pretty depressing. But I love it, so I can't wait to see it. And what comes after the pretentious Tree of Life? One of our favourites. Troll Hunter. What a great movie.
That's another perfect movie.
This was a real surprise for me when I saw this.
Yeah. Penny likes it too.
Do you like Troll Hunter, Penny?
No, she hates trolls. She's a dog.
Do you like Troll Hunter, Penny?
Stay under the bridge, trolls.
So Troll Hunter is sandwiched perfectly between the pretentious Tree of Life and the Turin horse, which is amazing and maybe one of the most art house things in this entire wall. So Bela Tarr, the director, is the guy who made Satan Tango that we're going to be showing. That's 7.5 hours long. This one is a mere 2 hours 35 minutes. So, do you know the legend about how Nietzsche died?
No.
So Nietzsche was in Turin, and he saw a tradesman beating his horse because it wasn't doing what he wanted, and it so upset Nietzsche that he went home and pined to death. Is how the legend goes. It just destroyed his faith in humanity, and he died very shortly after.
Why didn't he just try and rescue the horse?
Don't know. So Bela Tarr takes that as the starting point of this, and the guy in it is the guy who beats his horse. And it's 2 hours 35 minutes of the same Groundhog Day style day in the life of a very poor man who eats raw potatoes with his wife.
Wikipedia says that he died of pneumonia.
Well, probably brought on by seeing a horse. I said it was legend. Don't fact check live.
I mean, that just seems so silly.
Why doesn't anyone fact check the government like this? Next to the Turin Horse, so let's move on quickly, is 12 to 63 Angry Men. So Sidney Lumet's wonderful courtroom drama. This might be perfect as well, mightn't it?
That's pretty perfect.
It's incredible.
I actually, while you were going through that, I wrote 2 films that I thought you'd missed out.
Well, Tremors is not here on DVD, Blu-ray. We've got all 5 or 6 Tremors films on DVD somewhere, but we've only ever watched the first one.
I know, but
I would like the Tremors Blu-ray.
12
I think
Angry Men.
it's here. It's under TW.
I know.
12.
That's why I'm showing you.
So there's 12 Angry Men. It's amazing. Next to that is 12 Monkeys, which we've talked about because we talked about it in relation to La Jetée.
Yeah.
I watched this again about 2 months ago, having not seen it for a long, probably 10, 15 years. I think it's great. Stands up.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What do you think about Brad Pitt?
Mm.
He's got an incredible body of work.
Oh, I thought we were going to stop at body. He has. He's done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Considering, he was like a pretty boy.
Yeah. When you go through Seven and Fight Club and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think even though the Hollywood greats were, you think of them as like Bogey and Bacall and Spencer Tracy, I think our generation grew up with quite a good kind of range of actors that have lasted.
Clooney.
Well,
he had a good period where he was doing all kinds of different things.
now he's hawking Nespresso pods.
Yeah. Dining out on his wife's good name. I like the fact that Brad Pitt does like those things like Seven and Fight Club, and then he does weird science fiction things with Terry Gilliam, and he can do Tree of Life with Terrence Malick, and then he can do things like Meet Joe Black, which I loved.
You're one of the few people.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once, and I haven't got it, but I loved it. So. 12 Monkeys. Next, another film that may be difficult to watch right now, 28 Days Later.
I had nightmares after that for months.
It's very good, isn't it?
The scene with the girl, when she runs behind them, they're in like a car park or
Is it that girl on the
in
back?
a house. I can't remember. And she runs behind them really quickly.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the thing is you have to be careful because there might be people listening to this who get very upset. This is not a zombie film. It hasn't got zombies in it, but it was still the first time where a thing like a zombie
think they are
ran.
zombies.
They're not. They're just infected with the rage, not zombies.
But that's a zombie.
No, because the zombies died and come back to life. These are like they've got an infection.
Yeah.
But it was the first thing where a zombie type creature ran rather than lumbered.
Yeah.
And it upset a lot of people, but I think it's absolutely terrifying.
It's terrifying. And you get a fear on many levels.
Yeah.
Like fear of those people and then fear of the
Awful army fellas as well.
The rapists, yeah. It's fear on many different levels, isn't it?
It's fantastic. And it's a shame that 28 Weeks Later isn't as good.
I never saw it because that scarred me so much.
The opening 15 to 20 minutes of 28 Weeks Later is as good as this.
Yeah.
And then it goes downhill. Gets silly. But the opening scene of 28, you should watch the opening scene of 28 Weeks Later. It's amazing.
Maybe I'll build up to
After 28 Weeks Later comes another of the horror films, the most horrific films of all time, which is Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which is a horror film. It's also one of my favourite films. It's just incredible. It's a brilliant David Lynch film. It's the perfect Twin Peaks prequel. Amazing soundtrack. Just brilliant. Then what comes next is Two Lane Blacktop.
I mean, some of these things I have never...
Two Lane Blacktop fulfills ticks quite a lot of boxes for me. So this is from 1971. Tick.
Does it have to be from the 70s?
It's a road movie. Tick. It's got Warren Oates in it. Tick. So Warren Oates was the guy that was in Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia and lots of 70s things. The other thing that gives a good tick in a box for me on this is that the two main characters on this road trip are played by James Taylor, as in the musician James Taylor, his little buddy here is Dennis Wilson, the drummer from the Beach Boys. The coolest of the Beach Boys, the one who had amazing solo records and is just the 70s. So there's the two of them cruising around in smart cars, you know, like on some sort of mission. It's cracking. The 70s. Next up, 56 donkeys for Sister Sarah.
One of my faves.
2 mules for Sister Sarah. Clint and Shirley. It's bloody great, isn't it?
What's the backstory to this?
You couldn't remember how many it was of what?
No, I didn't know it was mules.
Well, it was Sister something else then. It wasn't right. There was something wrong about it.
But I was trying to get you to find it because I loved it and you hadn't seen it.
It's cracking, isn't it? It's good Western.
And I think I'd said something like 3 donkeys for Sister Mary.
I didn't know what that was.
But you went on a mission and you found it.
I went, oh, 2 mules for Sister
I
Sarah.
was like, it's Clint Eastwood and a nun with some donkeys. And you found it.
Yes. And then last in the tease is one of my favourite films and one of the first things that I bought the 4K version of because I think it deserves it totally is 2001 A Space Odyssey. Because if you're going to watch it, you want to watch it in the best version possible.
I mean, I'm just sick to the back teeth of hearing about it.
Yeah. It's just brilliant. There you go. One of my favourite things that we put on at the cinema because they gave us instructions of how to do the curtains and the lighting to make it absolutely perfect.
So pretentious.
Saw it last year, year before in London with an orchestra and a choir playing the soundtrack live and it was just amazing.
And I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
I just don't get it.
No, that's fine. You don't have to, do you?
No.
I mean,
Mules for
yeah.
horses.
I mean, you can't get Blue Crush on 4K, but if you could, we'd have it. I'm sure.
I'm more than Blue Crush.
Are you?
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so that's the tease.
2 Mules for Sister Sarah, for me, is like if you were going to do 3 films in a row, it'd be 2 Mules for Sister Sarah, Heaven Knows Mr. Allison, and The African Queen.
What a trilogy. I haven't seen the middle one. But...
Good women pushing
grey men
to greatness.
Hmm?
I wonder why I relate to that so much.
Who knows?
Great film.
I'm not that scoundrel. So that's it. That's the tease. Good set of teas.
Yeah.
You haven't asked me, but I'm taking 2001, The Thing, and Taxi Driver.
Okay.
What are you taking?
Terminator.
Yeah.
The Thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'll probably want to take 2 Mules for Sister Sarah, but I'll try and challenge myself because I realise how limited I am since we've gone through this. I can't take the chewing horse now I know that a horse gets beaten up.
Well, it gets punched.
But I'm not into that.
It's also, I think you'd absolutely hate it.
I am restricted, aren't I? I'll take Thirst.
Ooh, left field.
I think I have seen a bit of it once when you were watching it.
I've never watched this with you here.
Oh.
I saw it when it came out on DVD.
No,
I haven't
I
seen
think,
it since.
Didn't you maybe rewatch it when we lived in the other house?
No, I didn't have it. Let's watch it soon.
Okay.
It's an intriguer. Excellent. Any questions today? We've gone 35 minutes. We probably shouldn't have any questions today. I mean, we've only got like...
I have got a question for you.
We've got 4 U's tomorrow, so if anyone out there's got any questions they want to answer, ask them now.
Is anyone still listening?
Yeah, a couple of people.
Hello, a couple of people.
Hi.
Thank you.
Plus, what would you like us to do when we hit 26? We've got a load of DVD.
Stop.
We've got a load of box sets and things that I haven't watched yet that we should go through just to talk about them.
I'm not sure I can do that.
I will. But if anyone's got any ideas of things they'd like to do, any of these films maybe that we've talked about that you'd like a more in-depth breakdown of what's in the box and stuff.
Do you know what I would like? Is we were gonna pick a film from each letter for you to watch.
Yes.
That didn't start so well, did it?
I didn't know.
Because I found the first one boring.
Yes.
And
That was the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
yeah. And we got halfway through and then I couldn't do anymore.
Well, we got a third of the way through.
Felt like half.
Yeah, it's long.
It's long. But now I feel like we should power on with that.
Okay.
And I should... But I'd like to know what suggestions other people have for other films that I should watch.
Okay.
From the letters.
Shall I pick you another A and we'll do that this weekend?
No. Let's stick to the original A. Here's my question for you.
Go on.
Which movie do you think had the best merch attached to it?
Star Wars.
Okay.
It was the movie that started merch. And it was my life for about 5 years as a child.
Come on, let's be honest. Man and boy.
Man and boy. Man and boy. Star Wars, yes. Ghostbusters had amazing backpacks and ghost traps.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really go beyond Star Wars though, merch wise. I mean, Fight Club's you can buy Tyler Durden's dressing gown, and I really like that.
Oh,
The
let me make a note
the dressing gown with cups of tea on it.
Let me make a note of that. You've never said that before.
Mm.
And also,
I'd love it.
Are you going to get Tremors then?
Yeah, we better get Tremors. I think there's a Tremors box set of all of them, which can be
There's
like the
no-
Lost Boys one, where they'll just sit there and we'll never watch the
I
others.
think just get the original Tremors.
Yeah, but I think it's probably just as cheap to buy all of them.
No, but that's just a waste of money and
Waste of plastics.
room.
Okay, we need to stop now.
Okay.
We gotta go. We're going to go and watch Emma on Mubi, and if you haven't
With
seen
one
Emma,
M.
go and watch Emma on Mubi. It's free today, so you probably won't get a chance. I'm going to tell you laptop.
EMA.
Yes, that's it for now.
And then
See
we're
you-
watching Fan.
Yeah, The Fan.
Fan.
1981's The Fan with Lauren Bacall and Michael Biehn and
Just to
James
watch it.
Garner.
Michael Biehn, and also just an older Lauren Bacall.
Yeah. Like she was in Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
The Albert Finney one.
Yeah.
Anyway, goodbye.
Wiedersehen.
Bye.